What's up, everybody? I'm Doug.
And I'm Lorenzo.
And this is Good Suffering. Now, on this show, we usually review a film that I've seen before.
But I haven't.
But before we do that, we get into a little bit of...
horror news.
That's right. So we got some big pieces of news this week, buddy.
Big news.
Big news. Bigly news, as our president might say.
He's not my president.
None of the presidents are mine. Okay, so the original, or at least whatever's left, of the original team from Night of the Living Dead are coming together for an officially licensed, long unproduced sequel of Night of the Living Dead.
How's that gonna work?
Shit if I fucking know. But they came out, Living Dead Media came out with a big press release talking about just the legacy of Night of the Living Dead and how it took two directions with the Return of the Living Dead series and then, like, you know, Romero's trilogy with Dawn of the Dead and whatnot. And said that they are producing a film, hopefully to be released in 2019. Apparently that's going to be called Night of the Living Dead Part 2.
So they're just gonna nix.
Yeah.
Apparently. Oh, man. It just keeps happening.
That is from a script that was written in the 70s. Written by the original writers and producers. So I'm sure John Russo has a big part in this.
So when you're saying like the OG people are going to be, you mean cast members or?
No, I don't think so. But like I think like John Russo and some of the other like producers and whatnot from the original film are involved in some way.
That makes more sense.
There's like a lot of Romero stuff going on now. Like they are really just going to bleed his legacy dry. They're going to do it like what they're doing with Prince.
Yeah. Oh, don't remind me.
Yeah. I've got some news related to our film this week.
Our film?
Our film.
Oh, the one that we're doing for the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, they meant the movie that we made.
No. No, they can't see that yet.
Okay.
That's
check
that out. It's on Pornhub.
Oh, that one.
John Landis wanted Edgar Wright to direct a remake of An American Werewolf in London, and Edgar Wright rightfully shot him down, saying that it was a perfect movie that he could not add anything to.
Right. Because
there should not be a remake of this movie.
Right.
There was also a remake attached involving John Landis' son directing.
Right. Okay. I mean, I hear you.
Yeah.
Hear me out, though.
Not a good idea?
No, it's not. But no. Edgar Wright doing something related to this kind of universe or something similar to this movie, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, I guess so.
Not necessarily a remake, though. But I like to see him do. I mean,
they also made An American Werewolf in Paris that was sort of related to this, and that with Blue Chunks. Yeah. I didn't even bring that up on the episode. Like, I wasn't planning on it.
I was actually going to bring it up because Taylor and I were talking about it on my way here. He was confused as to which one we were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I told him it's the good one.
It's the good. Yeah. Yeah. Good. A little PSA for everybody out there. I picked this up myself a few days ago. John Carpenter's live retrospective concert Blu-ray is now available from some online markets. I picked it up. Oh my God, where did I forgot what website I bought it from. It's on its way here, but I know Revolver Merchandise is also selling it, and it's like $20, and you can pick it up. It's got it's the set. It's from the first tour that he did. That it's the same. You see the poster up there? Yeah, that's the cover of the Blu-ray too.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's
not. Will I see you in the audience?
No, it's not for my show.
Damn.
But it's. I mean, I'm happy with it. I'll buy whatever Carpenter stuff comes out. But like, I would have rather it be from the second tour. I think he was a little peppier, a little bit happier to be there. He kind of really was on his rock star vibes with that second tour. So hopefully there's a Blu-ray for that one coming out too.
I heard he was like 3 hours late for that one, and it came out in sunglasses and a leather jacket and like 5 like Hooters girls.
No, that was Guns N' Roses.
Oh yes. I'm sorry. I always get them confused.
The Satanic Temple is suing Netflix because they apparently ripped off their Baphomet statue or statue of Satan for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina show, which I have not watched yet. I'm so behind on TV, but I'm getting to it. I just finished up Haunting of Hill House.
I was gonna say, why haven't you caught up?
Should I talk about that on here?
I mean,
how far in are you?
Like, still only 3 episodes.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
By the way, all the way through, guys. It is fantastic.
Or I don't know. Are you gonna rewatch it, or did you catch all the?
I'm just gonna watch some kind of smash cut that somebody puts together.
Yeah, you're not gonna go through it.
I'm not gonna.
Because I've been catching a lot of them.
I haven't watched the new Channel Zero. I gotta watch that Eli Roth's History of Horror thing. I have to watch Sabrina. I gotta watch fucking Daredevil. I got a lot to watch.
And Mad Men. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get to Mad Men. I'll get to it.
You started it and then you just fell off.
I fell off.
Yeah.
Did I start it?
I thought you did. You told me you did.
Did I start? I think I did.
Look,
I don't remember.
I'm going by what you said, but you are a liar.
Maybe I'm a liar. I'm a liar. But yeah.
This is more horror news.
You think Netflix is gonna?
Oh dear God!
I'm still on this, man.
Like, wait a minute, there's more.
No.
You think they're gonna do something like actually
do you think they'll actually win a case over a statue like that? Do you think? Does that imply anything? Like, do you think there are any
kind of rights do they have, like the temple to that statue? Like, you know what I mean?
Kind of feels like a publicity thing for the Church of Satan.
Yeah,
which is most of what the Church of Satan does anyway.
Yeah.
They're sort of just like a non-offensive version of like Westboro.
Yeah, literally, they're not offensive like at all. Like the only offending thing is that like, oh, it's Satan, but then literally everything else.
Yeah, but they don't protest or anything. Like they're not saying dead soldiers are burning in hell or something, because the Christians are the real evil ones. That's what you're supposed to learn from Star Wars.
Anyway, they're pretty chill.
Yeah, they're Satanists. Chill dudes. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I condone anything or believe in what they do. It's just that, like, I saw some stuff online once before. Read some stuff about them. Cool guys.
Yeah. And they just portrayed Anton LaVey in American Horror Story, who's, like, the founder of the Church of Satan. And I thought it was John Travolta. Wasn't John Travolta.
Not John Travolta.
No. I think looked like him from Russia, or, like, from Paris with Love or whatever that movie was that he did, where he's, like, bald with the beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And I was like, oh, wow, is that him? Not him.
I hope they're not doing what something that I wanted to do about Satan before.
Pausing.
What?
Speaking of TV, American Horror Story this season, lit. Go ahead.
Well, I just hope that they're not doing something that I literally wanted to do. I wanted to do a story about Satan. Well, not about Satan necessarily, but, well, I can't give it away here because someone else could end up writing it. I have a cool idea. I hope I write it someday.
Is it related to the short film that you made?
No, not Hellbent?
Yeah.
No. That one's fun.
That is fun.
More people should see that.
More people should. Oh, go check it out.
I'm gonna link it up. Yeah, I don't think I've done that yet. It's on YouTube. So
yeah, throw it on all our social media.
Yeah, check it out, guys.
Yeah. Shameless self-promotion, baby. Mm-hmm. Last piece of horror news: the original 1910 version of Frankenstein that Thomas Edison produced is now available to watch. It's a short film. Mm-hmm. It's the very first adaptation of Frankenstein, and the sole surviving print was restored, and now you can watch it for free.
Cool. Where?
You can watch it through.
You can watch it from the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just go right there. Just go to DC.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's on their YouTube channel.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah. Mary Shelley.
Mary Shelley.
Namesake of my baby.
Is it really?
Yeah, that's what she's named after.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
You were a horror boy before you were even a horror boy.
I just like I thought I told you that like when I thought that she was a boy, when I thought when I was gonna pick her up, everybody was telling me that she was a boy, and I wanted to name her after an author, so I was gonna name her Vlad, after Nabokov. But she's a girl.
So today we're talking about John Landis's 1981 horror comedy, An American Werewolf in London.
Dun, 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 dun.
Werewolves in London. Beautiful. So you got the IMDb.
Not sponsored by IMDb. Here is their synopsis of An American Werewolf in London. 2 American college students on a walking tour of Britain are attacked by a werewolf that none of the locals will admit exists.
That's the whole thing.
That's lame.
That is a great synopsis of the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Okay. Well, I mean, it leaves a lot for you to, like, it sets it up.
It's a setup.
And then you know, go in there and knock him down.
Yeah? Is that how synopsises work?
Synopsi?
Synopsi? No, is it synopsi? No, there's no, it's not synopsis.
You're sus.
Oh my God! You talk about right beforehand. Oh, don't be goofy on this podcast anymore. And now all of a sudden you're goofy again.
When did I ever say don't be goofy?
Ridiculous.
I didn't say that.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, whatever.
What'd you think of the fucking movie, dude?
All right, so watch your mouth first of all. I thought it was fun and funny. Context. I had a lot of time to watch this movie. A lot of time to watch this, and I just didn't. I literally waited till the last second that I possibly could see it.
We watched it on Halloween. That was our whole Halloween. That was the only spooky thing we did.
No.
What else spooky did we
Check
do?
out our Instagram because
if
anyone is ever curious who runs the Instagram, you can blame me for not posting as frequently as I should because Doug has no idea how to use Instagram.
Nope. I'm very bad at
He forgets that we have it.
I often forget we have an Instagram.
Shit, I do too. That's why I don't post
The only thing I
anything.
remember is our Twitter.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So we saw some cool Beetlejuice stuff around. We saw other cool, I guess, decorations in Cranford. We saw that one. Was it Raritan Cove Pirates? That was cool. Yeah, shout out to them. You're also in the Instagram post, but quick shout out to those guys. Doing some real cool stuff that they've been doing for 3 years. Lots of cool effects, cool like sensor stuff that when you walk by, like the whole Pirates of the Caribbean thing plays. So that was cool. So shout out to those guys. But anyway,
Speaking of effects,
an American Werewolf in London.
yeah, those are some effects.
So what I was saying before is that I had a lot of time and I didn't want to watch it because I was in a mental space where I kind of wanted to just watch things that I knew already, that were familiar, that were comforting, you know, kind of just snuggle up with some ice cream and my robe and watch like romantic comedies or whatever, you know. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about here, folks. But when I watched this, I was upset at myself for not watching it sooner because it's so uplifting. Not necessarily the story, but it's just a good time, great effects, hilarious cast, or at least the two main guys.
Mm-hmm. And Frank Oz, or Tobias.
And Tobias Funke. Yeah, no, it's like it's weird. It's like a good mix of like actual good horror elements, like, you know, of that would make it of a good classic. I mean, there's obvious reasons why this holds up in the horror, you know, fucking history of horror. But it's also just like, you know, a good enjoyable movie too.
Right. You know, when John Landis was showing, you know, the earlier cuts of this movie off, he was getting a lot of one of two responses. He would either get, this is too funny to be a horror movie, or this is too scary to be a comedy. And I think this treads a really weird line that I can't think of another movie that does it like this. You know what I mean? That like really pushes both elements forward, because Evil Dead isn't ever all that scary.
What about
You know
Evil
what I mean?
Dead 2?
Evil Dead 2 isn't all that scary at any moment either. It's still slapstick and
you're
goofy.
right.
Like, there's never a moment where this movie, you know, goes over the line and becomes slapstick. Like,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. And that's what I was gonna say too. Like, unless if like it's scary, but it still kind of veers more towards the end of like slapstick kind of comedy, or like it's over the top, you know?
Right. Like the Evil Dead effects themselves are just over the top. Like the eye popping out and shooting across the room into the girl's mouth and things like that. You don't see that in American Werewolf, you know?
Yeah.
The scares are played pretty straight. But like it's injected with this like real comedy soul. That like is John Landis. John Landis is a comedy director. You know, he made Animal House and Kentucky Fried Movie.
This is why I know him. Jesus. Okay. Did he really?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because, okay, I didn't know who the heck he was until I saw him in the documentary that you were watching. I've seen him in, he must have done like so many interviews, so many documentaries.
He did the Blues Brothers too.
Yeah, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, I did no research.
Yeah. The only other horror-y thing he did is he directed Thriller.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that too and how you didn't get to see that.
Yeah, I went
Did we
to see.
ever tell that on air? Like, let people know that you didn't get to see?
Oh no,
I don't think
I'm
so.
not gonna shit talk a movie theater.
Oh no, but it just
I
kind of
went
sucks.
to go see A House with a Clock in Its Walls at AMC during its IMAX run to go see Thriller in IMAX 4K 3D whatever. They didn't play it, and I'm sad about it because I like Thriller and I like Michael Jackson.
That's it.
And yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I'm kind of glad I didn't go
we're
because I would have been.
We're like 6 minutes in, and we're already super tangential.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go on.
So when I first watched this movie, I enjoyed it for what it was. I saw this during a period where I wasn't really analyzing film. You know what I mean? I was just kind of too young. I was just eating up movies and consuming what I liked and getting rid of the rest. And
Shutting them out.
yeah. And so this blends in with like the first time I'm seeing movies like any of Cronenberg's stuff. Like I remember like seeing Videodrome around this time. I remember seeing a lot of movies that like I've come to love now and have analyzed. And this is like, it comes in at sort of like a early high school, sort of like that era where I was like learning to love movies that I now love for vastly different reasons.
So like you rewatched it early in high school?
I watched it for the first time in like early high school, and I was like movies like Videodrome and whatnot, where like I'm like, wow, this is really cool and it's doing something different and I like that. And now I look back and I'm like giving it meaning and I'm understanding like the threads that I didn't see, earlier.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I really struggled with what the fuck is this movie like about? Where's the subtext? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I think it only took me until like today, really thinking about it, being like, oh shit, I've got to actually talk about this movie later on today to like really get my shit in gear. And what I see in this movie is maybe, which is even, and I guess this is combated from like even. Like John Landis talking about it, where he said like, we were just making a monster picture based on like some shit that I saw like when I was in like Romania or something shooting a movie when I was like an assistant on a movie. But I see American culture destroying its own roots. And I think that might be at least my personal interpretation of American Werewolf in London.
America destroying its own roots.
Destroying its own roots. I.e. England. That's why it's set in England. Because you're talking I'm talking about like the
revolution.
Roots, maybe not directly with the revolution, but I'm talking about American brashness, American openness, directly combating like the subdued British culture.
Especially like the humor for one thing too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's a part of it too.
Or yeah. No, I've been trying to figure that out myself. Like literally what is, I guess, for lack of a better word, the point of the movie, aside from just like a really cool monster movie. And I don't know if I have my own theory on it. I think I was in context with like the end, like, how Jack actually like dies, how the werewolf gets killed. There's like, do you have this idea like, oh my god, love is gonna save the day, like, she's gonna walk in, the nurse, what's her name? Help me out here.
Alex?
I think that's right. Yeah, Alex. She walks in and she believes too that she could, help him. And I didn't really for a second think that was gonna happen, but that's kind of like the formula. And no, he just gets lit up because he lunges at Alex.
Right.
And I was trying to like kind of base my theory around that. Like, sometimes when you become some kind of monster one way or another through maybe experience or what happens or what causes that shift in a person, maybe there is no helping them after that. I don't know.
The thing is, like, I was trying to look for some sort of play on masculinity in this. And then I realized this is also the same director who like played like a rape scene for laughs in Animal House, so I don't think he's gonna have like. Oh yeah. I don't think that he's really gonna have much to say about toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
But I do see, the relationship is really interesting because it happens so quickly. It's not really built all that well. I would say is like maybe like a weaker point in this movie is like you don't really see why they're together other than just like this base attractiveness, and especially with David making comments like, oh, well, you know, a werewolf can only be killed by somebody who loves them. Maybe there's almost like a reading somewhere in there of like maybe he's almost got his own death wish and is trying to set something up with this girl so he has a way out because he knows he's doomed as a werewolf. Because there's like so little attention paid to like why that relationship is going on and what really makes it stick so quickly, while like Jack and David are given so much time and so much interesting. There's so much interesting dynamic between the two of them, especially once Jack is dead. They never discuss. They never discuss like, oh, hey, you ran away. You know, there's so much of like this matter of factness to their whole situation. When Jack comes back, he's just straight up like, okay, I'm dead. Here's the situation. You gotta fucking kill yourself so that we're both chill.
You're hurting my feelings. Yeah, I did screw that up before I realized. Jack is the friend that gets killed.
Yeah,
David's the one who's the werewolf. So apologies for that. Yeah, I mean their relationship. I mean, like, you know, Alex and David is, I guess, in a way a little rushed. You know, at least in definitely in comparison to Jack and David's. But I mean, I don't know. You do see a lot of time with her like being his caretaker. I think like they get to talk quite a bit. She even seems like a little hesitant to like bring him home in a sense.
That plays into my whole theory about, you know, this culture clash between British culture and American culture, which is that, you know, she says like, you know, I'm not in the habit of bringing home strange men. You know, she's like,
I think she even said American.
Yeah, she might have this prim, proper sort of, you know, British, you know, subdued woman who's like just lured by this like American loud, you know, willing to do whatever kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think that all just kind of relates back to like this ultimate clash where, you know, that's embodied with an actual monster killing British citizens. You know, it's like a very, very on the nose way of saying that like we have lost our roots. And I don't even know if it's a criticism of that, more just a commentary of that.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll take that. I mean, I definitely have to like toy with like this concept. This is the first time I'm hearing it.
Look at Mickey Mouse, like staring down at him in the most menacing way as he's turning in.
3 Mickey Mouses, I think.
What says more? What is more American than Mickey Mouse? You know what I mean? It's Mickey Mouse, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, and that's it.
It's all sinful. Every last one of those things you just said.
Oh my God! But yeah, that's how I see it. That's in the context that I look at it. That's just the way that makes sense for me.
But you're saying that John Landis literally said that like
I'm just making a monster picture.
Yeah,
you know, and I also see that within the Nazi werewolf dream sequence, as like if you look at, I mean, there's a lot to play around with considering that John Landis is Jewish, but if when I look at it, I see the embodiment of Nazism as a country that tore itself apart, you know, as a country that literally folded in on itself.
Yes.
And I think it's a really extreme, you know, it's hyperbolic, but you can almost relate that to American culture being like the switch of like British culture. It's almost like a cultural eating of itself.
Dear God. Okay. All right. You sold me a little bit more with that one now. Especially, I guess, from our perspective these days.
And also, like, it's just easy to relate, like, the actual physical, you know, monster of the werewolf to the human monster of the Nazi. So that might have just been a thing out of convenience, in a way. But I like that.
I thought it was just thrown in there. I'm not going to lie.
I don't see John Landis as that much of just, like, a crazy surrealist guy.
Why? Because he seems so like straight-laced and just kind of goofy?
Yeah. Because he's not David Cronenberg or David Lynch. He's not sitting there talking in, you know, riddles. He's just laughing along. So there's got to be some sort of, you know, there's the things connect somehow.
What if he's like just a mad scientist, but he has this, you know, guise of just regular goofy kind of guy? That's it. That's his quirk. He doesn't like, I don't know, go home and hammer pancakes on the wall and call it art or something. Like he's just.
Is that a SpongeBob reference? That's a reference to something.
He hammers like Krabby Patties against the wall because he forgets how to like make crab.
Yeah,
patty.
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, like, there are so many different elements, you know, so many different, like, in the documentary that you were watching too. It's like, just think of like your worst nightmares. He was talking about like the crew and like the special effects team. It's like, think about what you find scary, what your nightmares are, and then just put it in there. And there are a lot of different elements in there. So like you got the Nazis, like literally using guns. You know, like they are werewolves, but they're not like biting these people. They're just massacring these people with
They slit
machine guns.
David's neck.
They slit his neck.
That's how the
they
dream
stab
ends.
Alex when he wakes up, which he has to wake up from another dream. What else? I don't know. Like, and there's like they go to a freaking
They use
porno
fire. They,
theater.
like, start burning down the.
Oh well, yeah, with the Nazis, yeah.
Yeah.
They go to like a porno theater. You know, he sees himself in like a dream sequence earlier on, like running through the woods naked,
Killing a deer.
Yeah.
And then does he kill Alex? Is that what happens? No, he just does the face thing, right? And then
Yeah, he
wakes
has
up.
like cool, gaunt looking ghoul face thing at one point. I just
Well,
feel
look
like
at the British, the British nurse
uh
taking care of the American man,
huh.
who then snaps back at it. More of that American pushing back against the roots of its culture. I mean, it's a very white way of looking at American culture, but this is also a very white movie from a very white era.
This
Like,
is
remember,
Hemingway,
this
basically.
is 1981. Like,
Um,
we don't have cultural commentary coming out from Universal Studios Pictures.
Yeah. No, yeah, I can't really imagine that. Let's see. I remember thinking back to like the dream sequence of David running around naked and shit. I just remembered my theory about how you know how like the witch, right? I kind of brought that up to you
Right.
before. How the witch kind of talked about like female empowerment, female freedom. You know, that's kind of what witches are in some context.
Sure.
I kind of just threw out that maybe werewolves are like the equivalent of that, but for men. Where
Like,
it's like
just
this,
the
like,
uninhibited.
yeah, just loose, wild, naked, essentially, living out in nature, using your hands or your teeth or whatever, just kind of going back to being feral and all that.
Well, sure. I mean, even if you trace the roots of the werewolf, like, it is very linked to like Satanism, especially like in Europe. Like, it was very linked to like witches, even, of just like, this is what men who, you know, conspire with the devil become.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, yeah.
So that literally then, so like women turn into witches and
So yeah, you're not super far off from relating it to witches.
look at that.
But like, I don't know, the masculinity thing. Like, I get that. I understand that. And maybe I'm just putting my own.
Maybe all the hair and the muscles and like,
Right.
you know, super masculine kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm putting my own like feelings on masculinity into it, but like, I don't know. There's something about that I don't like. I don't think it's as liberating in a positive way as like
No,
the
I'm
witch
not
is portrayed in The Witch.
absolutely not. No, I wouldn't agree with that either. But I think for men who are like, I am 100% masculine, a male, that might be something that they'd be into. Like, you know, those lumberjack kind of guys.
Sure. Which David really isn't, though.
No, he's not.
He's like funny and he's charming and he's, you know, he's not getting by on his gruff.
No, yeah, certainly not. But he does get by
He does get by.
because he gets with Alex.
Especially once he's like a werewolf, like that just sexual appetite he's got. They're banging.
Yeah.
And banging and banging. Even when like afterwards he's like walking through the town, like the day after, and he's just like got his hands all over her.
He's like
and
he was like pretend biting her and shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like he is a very free version of himself. So I see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, look at that. I'm a film theory 101 student. So I imagine we got to do a lot of talk about effects.
Sure. Let's get into some more.
Sure. He says sure as if like that's not literally the whole crux of this movie, the whole foundation of this movie. Sure. Yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, yeah.
In our new segment, practically talking about practical effects.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's not nearly as good as my segment.
We don't have segments.
The
here.
crowd
we have
favorite.
horror news and just the rest of it.
Yeah, exactly. Because they want me.
Practically talking about practical effects. Yeah, I mean, Rick Baker did the effects, the legendary Rick Baker. the part of the documentary you didn't get to catch before you got here, he was talking about how he had signed on to do a movie called The Hunger, which was another werewolf movie from this year, directed by John Landis's friend. Directed by John Landis's friend Joe Dante, who you know from Gremlins, perhaps Piranha, or I mean, you're the same age as me, Small Soldiers.
That's a good movie.
That's a good fucking movie.
I
Small
sold that
Soldiers,
VHS.
Criterion when?
Oh my god! After Encino, man.
No. After hours, hopefully. But yeah. But he had already previously promised John to work on John's film, but it didn't seem like it was getting off the ground. It wasn't finding funding. Universal wasn't all about it. So he signed on for The Hunger, and then John called him up saying, "Hey, I got the money. Let's do this." And he said, "Oh shit." So he gave The Hunger over to his protege, Rob Bottin, who we will talk about eventually with a film called The Thing.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of The Thing?
No.
No? Not a John Carpenter fan, right?
Who's that?
Yeah. So he goes over and he does the effects on American Werewolf in London and wins the very first Academy Award for practical effects.
And for good reason.
And for pretty good reason. You know what's it was funny, as I was watching it with you, I realized I'm like, damn, that like effects have come like I don't want to say that practical effects have come a long way since then, since that was like the real renaissance of the practical effects, but they have become so much more accessible because you can see so many people at home doing that now. Like practical effects and doing, horror makeup has become such like a homegrown phenomenon now. It's not such a mysterious weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, for a second, I kind of was about to disagree with you because I thought what you were gonna say is that like practical effects has come a long way in the sense that like it's just gotten astronomically better nowadays as opposed to when this came out, which I don't agree with. I think that it's getting better, but it's the same thing. Right. Like that's why this looks so good. I think that's why this still holds up. Is because it's really good practical effects that looks good on camera. Yeah, it's never going to be like outdated. It's not like CGI like 20 years from now, like, oh, look at that. That's when they used to do really bad CGI. Now we got good CGI. Right. And then 20 years later after that.
You do that like movies from 2 years ago.
I know.
Yeah.
And that's always like what people say about like Jaws. They say the same thing about Jurassic Park. Like the stuff that's done practically is not just like, people obsessing over film cameras or analog or whatever, or vinyl. Like, no, it just literally is better. It just looks
timeless.
Better. Yeah.
Because it's real. It's in front of you. You know what I mean? It's not computer generated. It's
and
not
for like the actors too, I bet. I mean, shit. Instead of acting in front of like a green screen or some dude wearing like a mocap suit, and you have to like literally with your imagination just pretend that he looks like this thing, rather than getting to see some huge ass werewolf in front of you.
Acting is just reacting, and how do you react to nothing?
Yeah.
So
we can talk about different schools of acting.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not. I don't like actors. But yeah, so I think this is really where like that signature 80s effects, like crazy over the top effects, like this is where it begins for me when I look back at like that era, because like you can even trace it back to like 3 or 4 years prior to this Dawn of the Dead. But even Dawn of the Dead, for as crazy as it is not this. You know what I mean? It's not.
So this is in like conjunction, like American Werewolf. That's in conjunction with what? Like you're saying, like this is kind of the start.
Where the Thing goes, and where slashers really start to go towards the mid '80s. You look at like the work on even like the first Nightmare on Elm Street. Like this is like the beginning of like where it gets really over the top and really showy. Because Dawn of the Dead is just a lot of great zombie makeup, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, they gave him the freaking Oscar for a reason.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
It just set a whole new, standard.
Yeah,
for effects.
You know what's funny? Also, you ever see the Benicio del Toro Wolfman from like 2010?
That's Anthony Hopkins is in there, right?
Yeah.
No, I never saw it.
It
was like on FX a lot back in the day.
It's not great. But like that won the Academy Award for Best Practical Effects too. Which is funny because like everything in that movie is CGI augmented.
Oh yeah,
it's practical that's augmented. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I remember like thinking that it looked kind of good though.
I don't know. It's more of a straight adaptation of the Lon Chaney's movie, which is actually brings up another point of like thinking, why did they set this in London? And I realize you look at like there's a movie from 1935 called Werewolf of London. The original Wolfman is set in somewhere in England as well, and maybe Wales, I think. Maybe somewhere, maybe like I don't know, Birmingham or something. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen like.
It's all the same to you, huh? Just Wales is England.
Yeah, all the same.
How dare you?
It's that fucking island. But yeah, there's like a really interesting history with like werewolf movies being set there. So I could see how John Landis is just kind of making an ode to like the Universal monster pictures that he, loved.
Yeah.
And, I don't think necessarily that a reading of a film is, like director intent and writer intent is not, it shouldn't really play a part in, how you read a film.
It shouldn't be beholden. Like nobody should, like viewers should not be
beholden to
to what the director wanted or what the writer wanted.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And so any reading that you pull out of this or any other movie, if the director disagrees, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree 100%. I kind of I feel that way more, I guess, about like literature, because like, there's a lot of room for like interpretation of literature. The thing with like, film as a medium is that like you're given all the information, or you can believe that you're given all the information right there with like multiple senses. You hear it audio and you see it visually, and you have like this narrative happening before you. So I wouldn't say there's less room for interpretation, but generally speaking, like, you have it served to you. You don't have to use your imagination very much, which is usually a criticism, and I don't mean it as one at all. But yeah, I mean, like with a movie like this, where like it seems like there's not really much going on behind it, or at least like that was what Landis was trying to put out there, and yet still filled with like so many kind of interesting tidbits of like, I guess, history, of like kind of weird nightmare stuff going on, and cultures. You can't help but just try to figure it out. You really just want to put your own analysis on it.
Landis is a lot different than a guy like Carpenter, who is like very socio-politically charged. Like, I mean, it's the guy who made like They Live, you know what I mean? Which is like the biggest fucking,
I love They Live.
Like freshman year of high school slap in the face to like precursor to like something like the fucking Matrix or something.
They Live. What are you doing? Are you shooting it down right now?
No, I'm not shooting it down. I'm just saying it's like a very like. There's no way that you could say that Carpenter doesn't have those things in mind after making a movie like that. Yeah, because it is so obvious. It's not really subtext. It's the text of the fucking film.
Yeah.
So, I think this just shows Landis's strength as a writer and as just like a creative. Because he didn't mean to put that there, but he was touching some sort of nerve that you don't just watch this, go, oh, that was cool, and then shut it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which there are plenty of movies to watch that, to get that. So it's not like every single movie has that kind of subtext. To
Underworld, the vampire werewolf movie.
What about it?
You can just, what's that? Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
You can just watch that, enjoy it, and like, okay, cool, and that's it. It's like no subtext or anything behind it. I just wanted to tie it back into like werewolves and shit.
Okay.
I'm literally agreeing with what you're saying, that like he's a good writer because he put that stuff in there anyway, without necessarily that being his intent. Whereas the other movies, there are movies that are like just trash, and you just watch it, eat popcorn, and then turn it off.
Good.
You hate me. I don't understand why. I don't get it.
So, do you have any? So, do you have anything else to say about this one?
Well, John, no.
Okay.
I will say that it's just it's a good movie to watch for multiple reasons.
Would you call it good starter horror?
Good starter horror?
Maybe not for kids, but to get somebody into horror. It's
I
definitely
mean,
a staple.
I would say, in a way, yeah, because it's such cool effects that that they can get into that portion of it, that part of horror. It's like, oh wow, that's so cool that they can kind of do those kind of mechanics, those kind of prosthetics. Then they want to see more of that kind of work,
It's also a really simple movie to like pick up on certain things on, like the fact that like the first time you see them, they're like herding with sheep. There's like some really obvious images in it.
Yeah.
So it's like just kind of an easy movie to pick up on.
I will say, I want to point out the scariest part of this movie
Okay.
for me, or I guess the most unsettling, is a very simple shot. After David's gone through, like, going through the whole transformation, he starts with the hands and stuff, which is, it looks cool. I don't have to keep saying it. It looks so cool. But after, like, it's basically all done, you don't really get a full look at him while in that room. You don't really get like a full on look at him until like the end, really. But the camera is kind of close up on his like hind legs. You see his skin, you see like the hair, and you see just the body, and the camera pans across it, and it's just kind of, it's breathing, it's taking up like the whole screen. I don't know what it was about that shot, but it messed me up. Like, that was like the scariest part, just seeing like this kind of massive monster and just kind of taking a second to like look at it without it doing anything. It was just something that was unsettling. I don't know what it was. I think just the way it looks, how lifelike it looked, and I guess like the moment of calm before everything kind of went down. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, dude, I'm freaked out by back hair too.
Oh, are you?
Well, you want to? This is your pick now, so you want to announce the next one?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the next one is a movie.
Wow, we're doing a movie for the next one? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's from this dude called Wes Craven. Don't know who he is.
Wes Craven, that's crazy.
1977. The Hills Have Eyes.
Hell yeah. It's been a minute since I've seen it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So this will be a pretty good revisit for you.
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't think I've watched it since high school.
Okay, cool.
That was another one of those movies that was part of like the same lump with
just
like
kinda
this and
consumed
Videodrome, where I'm just like eating up all this like what I would call second level horror. It's not as easily accessible as like a Friday the 13th or like a Halloween or something like that.
It's that third.
It's like
level?
It's that like next level of like, it's not an obscure movie. I don't feel like, oh wow, I just discovered like a little hidden gem, but it's not something that you would see played on like TV or something.
Well, I'm trying to
like
understand.
sold at like a barn, at like a Best Buy.
I'm trying to understand your levels here. So is number one like the top tier, like, or is it just
not
like
quality?
entry mode?
It's like that's entry.
Okay.
And then it's like this, and then like you're going until you're like finding weird obscure.
It's like that meme when you like that you just keep descending.
Yeah.
Into like really obscure stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So cool.
Can't wait for that to happen.
Oh my.
That's
God.
what's gonna end up like if we keep doing this show for like a long time, it's gonna get to the point where like we need to do like really crazy, outlandish kind of like movies to like get our fix.
We're gonna find like the weird Japanese guinea pig movies where it's just like real strange shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Some snuff films here and there.
Oh. Hey, so we found this on Live Leak, guys. Next week we'll drop the link. Okay, please guys, do not forget to subscribe, leave a review or a comment wherever you're hearing this. And you can follow us on all of our social media. We are on Twitter at good_suffering. We are on Instagram, which now I remember we have, at Good Suffering Podcast. And we are on Facebook at Good Suffering, a horror podcast. Thank you. And once again, this has been Good Suffering.